Midstram here. One thing I hear a lot when I'm out chatting with other anglers and it's a nice clear day, you hear things like, man, it's such a nice day. I don't know why it's so slow, or I don't know why they're not biting. And to us, that makes perfect sense. It's a great day for us to be outside, right? But calm water, blue, clear skies with no wind, comfortable and easy for us to cast in, and it's easy to see what you're doing. Logically, for us, it's a great day, so it ought to be a great day to fish, right? But a lot of the time, that's exactly where we have it completely backwards. A calm, sunny day can be a great day for us, but it doesn't always mean that it's a great day for the fish. See, fish, they get nervous when it's calm and clear. They're probably tucked up tight to cover. Maybe they've even gone a little bit deeper, and they're harder to fool when it's calm because they can see better, right? And they likely are seeing a whole lot more than we give them credit for. So let's talk a little bit about calm, sunny days and why they can be tough. And, kind of like we just talked about, right? The thing with us is we tend to confuse good weather for us with good weather for fishing. But when you think about it, fish don't care if we're comfortable. They don't care, right? They care about finding food, being safe, the water temperature, the light, current, the shade over the water, and being able to ambush something without getting exposed themselves. Because you think a bass is an apex predator, but bass have predators too. Bigger bass eat smaller bass. Birds come down and they eat bass. So they want to feel safe and comfortable too. So on a calm, clear, sunny day, you can see the water better, right? But the fish can see better too. And they can see your line. They can see the bait coming through the water. And they can look at it a lot better. And if it's just a little bit off, they're like, nah, not today, man. Here's something I think that kind of gets overlooked. It's not just that you can see the fish easier on those days. It's the fish know that they're more visible too, right? And like I said, to birds coming overhead, to bigger predators, this makes them nervous and more cautious. They feel exposed, right? The same way if you were kind of like standing out in an open field with nowhere to hide, that you would feel exposed. And it doesn't mean you can't catch fish. I've had some great fishing days when it's calm and clear. But it usually means you have to be a little more intentional about what you're doing. So on those bright, calm, sunny days, the fish aren't roaming around as much as they normally would. They'll get closer to something. They'll tuck in closer to that shade or grass or dock posts, maybe a brush pile, some rock edge, a deeper drop off, the same sort of places they'd normally be, but they'll be closer and tighter to that and more cautious moving further away from it. So they want something that breaks up the light and gives them a place to sit without feeling completely exposed. And that's why they choose those places. And they move further away from them when the conditions allow. So on a day like that, a cast that lands 3 feet away from the shade may not be good enough. And, on another day when it's not calm and sunny like that, a fish will go further to get a bait. But, when it's really calm and sunny, they may not go very far. You may need to hit the edge of that shade, or you may need to get directly under like an overhanging tree. Maybe, if you're fishing beside some pylons or some docks, you need to get it right beside that post. You need to get it kind of to the darkest, densest part of a grass edge. The fish are probably still there. The target just gets a lot smaller. You're still fishing the same likely places, like I said, but the fish are more cautious and they're less likely to chase very far. Now let's touch on wind a minute. And I know this video is about calm, clear, sunny days, but you can have a nice, bright, sunny day that's windy. And wind is your friend. But a lot of anglers, they hate the wind. And I used to too, until I started to really understand this.
There he is.
it makes casting harder.
There he
It
is.
blows your line and makes it bow, and it can make bites harder to feel as
Oh
well.
man, the grass in this
And like
pond.
if you're in a kayak or a smaller boat, it's really a pain because that chop is beating you up, making that boat rock back and forth. You might be getting some splash coming over the side of it, and that's no fun. But a little bit of wind, it can really be a good thing because it breaks up the surface. It makes your lure look more natural because it kind of hides it a little bit, right? Because the water is moving. It also makes it harder for the fish to get a good look at everything, right? And it moves bait around, it pushes food towards the bank, maybe a point or a grass line, right? With bait moving like that, fish have a better reason to be there. With that wind, now they've got a little bit of cover on that bright sunny day. They've got food being pushed up to an area, and they've got a lot better chance to feed without feeling like completely exposed. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that like every windy bank is good. When I'm thinking about wind, I'm looking for wind hitting something useful, something that fish would like, right? So maybe a windblown point, a windblown grass edge, riprap with the waves hitting against it, or even a shallow flat where bait is getting pushed up on that flat. And that's the difference between just fishing wind and fishing wind with kind of a purpose, right? Because wind by itself is not magic, but when wind is hitting the right stuff, it can make a huge difference. So now thinking about this bright, sunny, clear day, on a day like that, when it's calm, it's sunny, the water's slick, I'm probably going to slow way down and I'm probably going to downsize. I might throw something like a weightless worm or a wacky rig and move that real slowly, right? Or I might downsize to like a Ned rig or a small swim bait, maybe a little finesse jig, something that looks more natural and doesn't come across like blasting through there, like it has somewhere to be. And I'm going to try to be cleaner with my cast too and try to be a little more quiet. And those lighter baits help you with that. They don't make a big splash when they hit, right? Um, I don't want to be stomping around on the bank either. And I don't want to have my shadow falling across the water if I can avoid it, right? Because that'll spook them. Now, if it's a bright sunny day and I've got some wind, especially if that wind is hitting a good bank or maybe a good point, now I may think about something different. Maybe I'm throwing a spinnerbait or a chatterbait, maybe a square bill, putting a jerkbait out there, something like that that lets me cover more water and take advantage of that broken surface. Right? And that's something I think a lot of anglers probably miss. The weather doesn't just tell you if it's comfortable to fish, it tells you how to fish and how the fish may be positioned. So there's an exception to this rule, and there's actually some times when it works in your favor. Um, and a calm sunny day can be great if you're sight fishing. If you're fishing clear, shallow water and you actually need the sun to be able to see the fish, that's a different story. I used to do this all the time on the saltwater flats, chasing redfish. You can see their tails, you can see them, their tails sticking out, and you can see them chasing bait. And at that point, you're trying to spot them before you ever cast so you can put that lure right in their path or right where they're at. And thinking about bass fishing, the same thing happens during the spawn, right? The bass are on those beds and they're not going to move very far, right? So you're trying to see those beds and throw like a soft plastic lizard on top of it to irritate them and get them to grab it. And sometimes in colder water, remember, fish are cold blooded. So if it's been cold and you have the sunny day, that sun can warm up a shallow bank just enough to pull the fish kind of up on it. All right, that's all for this one. Leave me a comment and let me know if you've noticed the same thing. Do you catch more fish on those pretty calm days? Or do you usually do better when it's a little windy, overcast, cloudy, maybe drizzling? Let me know. I'm curious about your thoughts and how things have worked for you. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.